Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel Dubai Virtual Village. In my last episodes, we've talked about food labels, hidden sugar, carbohydrates, and healthy and unhealthy fats. But today, I want to bring everything together and answer a very simple question. What does our body actually need from food? We hear words like protein, carbohydrates, healthy fats, vitamins, and minerals all the time. But what do these nutrients actually do for us? And more importantly, how do we choose foods that give our body what it needs without making nutrition unnecessarily complicated? That's exactly what we're going to talk about today. Let's begin with carbohydrates, because this is probably one of the most misunderstood nutrients. The moment people hear the word carbs, many immediately think of bread, pasta, sugar, or weight gain. But carbohydrates themselves are not the problem. In fact, they are one of our body's main sources of energy, and our brain and muscles rely heavily on glucose, which produce when many carbohydrates are broken down. What really matters is the type of carbohydrate we choose and how often we eat it. There is a big difference between getting most of your carbohydrates from sugary drinks, sweet-spiced, highly fructy, and getting them from foods like oat rice, whole grains, fruits, and vegetables. Both provide carbohydrates, but they do not provide the same overall nutrition. Both provide carbohydrates, but they do not provide the same overall nutrition. Whole and minimally processed carbohydrate foods often come with fiber, vitamins, minerals, and other beneficial nutrients. Fiber is especially important because it helps support healthy digestion, helps us feel full for longer, and can slow the absorption of sugar into the bloodstream. That is why a whole fruit, for example, affects the body differently from drinking a sugary fruit drink. Another thing I want people to understand is that carbohydrates are not only found in bread and rice. Fruits, vegetables, milk, yogurt, beans, and lentils also contain carbohydrates. So instead of asking, how can I avoid carbs, a much better question is, where are my carbohydrates coming from? If most of them are coming from whole foods, fruits, vegetables, legumes, and whole grains, you are also getting a package of nutrients with them. But if most of them are coming from soft drinks, sweets, white bakery products, and highly processed snacks, you may be getting plenty of calories without much fiber or nutritional value. So the message is not to fear carbohydrates, it is to choose them wisely. Think less about cutting carbs completely and more about choosing better quality carbohydrates that give you steady energy and support your overall health. Healthy eating is not about removing an entire food group. It is about understanding what that food is doing for your body and making informed choices most of the time. Next comes protein. And protein isn't only for people who go to the gym. Our body needs protein to build and repair tissues and to make enzymes, hormones, and many other important substances. We can get protein from eggs, fish, chicken, dairy products, beans, lentils, chickpeas, tofu, nuts, and seeds. The important thing is variety. You don't need to depend on one expensive protein product to meet your body's needs. Then we have fats, which we've already discussed in my previous video. You can watch that video for a deeper explanation. Our body needs fat for energy, healthy cells, and the absorption of vitamins A, D, E, and K. But when it comes to fat, the type matters. Foods like olive oil, nuts, seeds, avocado, and oily fish provide mostly unsaturated fats, while trans fats and foods high in saturated fats are better limited. So once again, the message isn't don't eat fat. It's understand the fat you're eating. Now let's talk about vitamins. We hear about vitamins all the time, vitamin C for immunity, vitamin D for our bones, vitamin A for our eyes, but what exactly are vitamins and why does our body need them? Vitamins are organic substances that our body needs in relatively small amounts to stay healthy and function normally. Unlike carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, vitamins are not mainly there to give us energy or calories. Instead, you can think of them as helpers that allow many important processes inside the body to work properly. They are involved in everything from maintaining our vision and immune system to supporting our bones, blood, skin, nerves, and the way our body uses energy from food. There are 13 essential vitamins, and they are usually divided into two groups. The first group is the fat-soluble vitamins, A, D, E, and K. These can be stored in the body, particularly in the liver and fatty tissues. The second group is the water-soluble vitamins, which include vitamin C and vitamins B. Our body generally stores much smaller amounts of most water-soluble vitamins, so we need to get them regularly through our diet. So what do these vitamins actually do? Vitamin A is important for healthy vision, our immune system, and normal growth and development. We can find it, or substances our body can convert into vitamin A, in foods such as carrots, sweet potatoes, spinach, eggs, dairy products, and liver. Then we have the B vitamins, and this is actually a family of 8 different vitamins. They help our body use the energy contained in the food we eat, and are involved in healthy nerves, red blood cell formation, and many other cellular processes. We can get different B vitamins from foods such as whole grains, eggs, dairy products, meat, fish, legumes, nuts, seeds, and leafy vegetables. Vitamin C is probably one of the vitamins we're most familiar with. It helps our body make collagen, which is important for our skin, blood vessels, bones, and wound healing. It also helps us absorb iron from plant-based foods. Citrus fruits are well-known sources, but vitamin C is also found in foods like peppers, strawberries, kiwi, broccoli, and tomatoes. Vitamin D is particularly interesting because our body can produce it when our skin is exposed to sunlight. It helps us absorb calcium and is important for maintaining healthy bones and muscles. We can also get some vitamin D from foods such as oily fish, egg yolks, and fortified foods. However, vitamin D needs can vary considerably between individuals, so supplementation is something to discuss with a healthcare professional when appropriate. Then we have vitamin E, which acts as an antioxidant and helps protect our cells from oxidative damage. Nuts, seeds, vegetable oils, and some green vegetables can provide vitamin E. And finally, vitamin K plays an important role in normal blood clotting and bone health. Leafy green vegetables such as spinach, kale, and broccoli are particularly good sources. Now, after hearing about all these vitamins, it's very easy to think, maybe I should just take a multivitamin every day and then I don't have to worry about my diet. But that's not really the message I want to give you. For most people, the first place to think about nutrition is food variety. Different foods provide different combinations of nutrients, which is why eating a varied diet is so important. Fruits and vegetables of different colors, whole grains, legumes, nuts and seeds, eggs, fish, dairy products, or suitable alternatives can collectively provide a wide range of vitamins along with minerals, fiber, protein, healthy fats, and many other useful components of food. Supplements certainly have an important place. Some people have diagnosed deficiencies, particular dietary restrictions, pregnancy-related needs, certain medical conditions, or other circumstances where supplementation may be recommended. But taking more vitamins doesn't automatically make us healthier. Some vitamins, particularly the fat-soluble ones, can build up in the body and become harmful in excessive amounts. So rather than asking, which vitamin supplement should I take? Perhaps start with a different question. Am I giving my body enough variety through the food I eat? That's really the bigger message. Our body doesn't need one magical vitamin or one so-called superfood. It needs a variety of nutrients working together, and one of the simplest ways to achieve that is by putting variety and color on our plates. Now let's move on to minerals. We often hear about calcium, iron, potassium, and magnesium, but what exactly are minerals, and how are they different from vitamins? Minerals are essential nutrients that our body needs in relatively small amounts to function properly. Unlike vitamins, which are organic substances, minerals are inorganic elements that come naturally from the earth and water. Plants absorb them from the soil, animals obtain them through the food they eat, and eventually we get those minerals through our own diet. Just like vitamins, minerals don't provide calories or energy themselves, but they help our body carry out many essential functions. They are involved in building strong bones and teeth, carrying oxygen around the body, maintaining normal fluid balance, supporting our nerves and muscles, and helping many chemical reactions take place every single day. Some minerals, such as calcium, magnesium, potassium, sodium, phosphorus, and chloride, are needed by the body in relatively larger amounts. Others, known as trace minerals, are required in much smaller quantities. These include iron, iodine, selenium, copper, and several others. But needing only a tiny amount doesn't make a mineral unimportant. Even a small deficiency of certain minerals can affect how we feel and how our body functions. You don't need to find one magical food that contains every mineral your body needs. In reality, there isn't one. Dairy products and some fortified foods can provide calcium. Meat, fish, beans, lentils, and leafy vegetables can contribute iron. Fruits and vegetables provide potassium and other minerals, while legumes, nuts, seeds, and whole grains can contribute magnesium and several trace minerals. This is why I always come back to the idea of a varied and balanced diet. Rather than chasing the latest supplement or so-called superfood, try to include different food groups and different colors on your plate throughout the week. And just like vitamins, more isn't always better when it comes to minerals. Supplements can be extremely useful when there's a genuine need or a diagnosed deficiency, but taking large amounts unnecessarily can sometimes cause problems or interfere with other nutrients or medicines. So before automatically reaching for a mineral supplement, think about your overall diet and, where there's a concern about deficiency, speak with an appropriate healthcare professional. The message is actually very simple. We may need minerals in relatively small amounts, but the jobs they perform are anything but small. A varied diet gives our body a much better opportunity to get the different minerals it needs to function at its best. And finally, water. We sometimes talk about food and nutrition as if hydration is something separate, but water is essential for life. It helps regulate body temperature, supports digestion, and allows our bodies to function normally. And here in a hot climate, being mindful of hydration becomes particularly important, especially when we're outdoors or physically active. Now you might be thinking, this is a lot to remember. Do I need to calculate carbs, protein, fat, vitamins, and mineral every time I sit down to eat? Absolutely not. For most of us, healthy eating doesn't need to be that complicated. Try to include plenty of vegetables and some fruit across your day. Choose whole grain or other fiber-rich carbohydrate foods where appropriate. Include a source of protein and add small amounts of healthy fats. And of course, water. Think about variety as well. If you're eating exactly the same foods every single day, you're probably getting a narrower range of nutrients. Different foods bring different nutrients to the table, so variety really does matter. The message I want to leave you with today is very simple. Good nutrition isn't about one magical food, and it isn't about completely removing one nutrient from your diet. Our bodies need a combination of nutrients, and they work together. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is understanding what your body needs and making informed choices more often. That's really what this entire series is about, giving ordinary people practical health information they can actually use in everyday life. If you'd like to explore more public health and healthy living topics in greater detail, you can also visit my blog Sehatnama Nadia at sehatnamanadia.com. I recommend reading my blogs as it is in more detail what we discuss here. I'm Nadia Ahmed, and this is your channel Dubai Virtual Village. Until next time, stay informed, stay healthy, and remember, your health is your greatest investment. I'll see you in the next vlog.